well do 2 videos instead of 1. Let's get to it. Hope everyone's doing well. If I remember correctly, I'm here for fly, amantia, or hamanitia, however that's pronounced, and bees. And any other ingredients I want to pick up from alchemy. With my deformed hands and the nice armor I picked up because I stole. He just... Okay. Start. There we go. Fly amanita. Amanita. It's probably pronounced differently. Where'd he go? Rolling away. Let's go on the upper terrace. If I can. The painting will be ready. That's where I woke up drunk. Someone was enjoying a nice little picnic over here. It didn't float back up. Also, sorry if no one can even hear me. It's a little hard for me to judge microphone levels. I'll try to pay attention on the upload of this video to make sure that you guys can actually hear me. We might be out of searchable ingredients, unfortunately. here for bees, not dragonflies. Yeah, that might be it. Oh, Farkas. Alright, down there. I was hoping to find a beehive down here, but unfortunately it looks like we're just going to have to go and make do with what we have. Hopefully it's enough. Alright, let's get back to it. Let me check the ingredients. Oh. $12. 8. Would like to get more of those, but oh, we got those. I got those. I mean, I wonder if anyone will ever watch these. Makes you think. You can stand upright, you know that, right? Okay. Just want to see what's over here. Oh! Interesting. Vesper. Wonder if we'll get to see those in action. Poor Enwas. There it is. Looks like he always keeps his door locked. Alright, let's try this again. Hopefully this time T meets approval. What? Oh. Right, alright, never mind. How do they grow in here without sunlight? You know? That's what I'm wondering. I think that's good enough. Let's find out. Whose house is this? He sleeps. I'm almost surprised that he actually sleeps.
You are distracting me from a particularly important mind process.
Sleeping. You mean sleeping?
I hope you did everything right. Oh, revolting! What a worthless N.Y. you are! All right, we have no time for this. Go back to Tamina and grab some invisibility potions. I will be waiting for you near the entrance to Bkhalzarf.
Bkhalzarf.
That is slightly
Bkhalzarf.
east of Sendu's house. With haste!
Ow. He's in a hurry? Well, this poses some problems. Can I grab it? You know what? I know just what to do here. 4, so I can check the time. Okay. Let's go ahead and do something real quick. Test. I think that'll be better. So since we got some time, although it might... Oh, that's unfortunate. I was going to go to the bookstore, get some reading in. I'm guessing if the Alchemist is closed, everything's closed. So... I almost just have to just wander around. Only the Enwas are out right now. Yeah, looks like it. Kind of just walking around to pass the time. Oh, is that it? Could take about 5 minutes.
Be careful.
Excuse you. Would you kindly? Yeah, no. You know what? It's time he gets robbed. Should have been investing in stamina. I think that increases carry weight, I guess. Alright, I hope you're ready to hear my voice. Let's start right here. Songs of Skyrim. Yeah, gonna read every book, deal with it. Songs of Skyrim, compiled by Gerard Germain, historian of the Bard's College in Solitude. Ragnar the Red is a traditional song of Whiterun. Despite the grim final image, the song is generally regarded as a light and rollicking is generally regarded as light and rollicking, and a favorite in inns across Skyrim. Ragnar the Red. There once was a hero named Ragnar the Red who came riding to Whiterun from Old Rorikstead, and the braggart did swagger and brandish his blade, as he told of bold battles and gold he had made. But then he went quiet, did Ragnar the Red, when he met the shield maiden Marilda, who said, "Oh, you talk and you lie and you drink all our mead, now I think it's high time that you lay down and bleed." And so then came the dashing and the slashing of steel, as the brave lass Marilda charged in full of zeal. And the braggart named Ragnar was boastful no more, when his ugly red head rolled around on the floor. Classic. The Dragonborn Comes has been handed down from generation to generation of bards. The Dragonborn in Nord culture is the archetype of what a Nord should be. Oh, that's interesting. The song itself has been used to rally soldiers and to bring hope. The Dragonborn comes, our hero claims a warrior's heart. I tell you, the Dragonborn comes, with a voice-wielding power of the ancient Nord art. Believe, the Dragonborn comes. It's an end to the evil of all Skyrim's foes. Beware, the Dragonborn comes. For the darkness is past and the legend yet grows. You'll know, the Dragonborn comes. The Age of Oppression and the Age of Aggression are variants of one song. Interesting. It isn't known which of the two was written first, but the tune with loyalty-appropriate lyrics is quite popular on both sides of the war. The Age of Oppression. We drink to our youth, and to days come and gone, for the age of oppression is now nearly done. We'll drive out the empire from this land that we own. With our blood and our seal, we will take back our home. All hail to Ulfric. Wait. Variants of one song, which was written first. Interesting. All hail to Ulfric, you are the High King. In your great honor we drink and we sing. We're the children of Skyrim and we fight all our lives. And when Sovngarde beckons, every one of us dies. But this land is ours and we'll see it wiped clean of the scourge that has sullied our hopes and our dreams. The Age of Aggression. We drink to our youth, to days come and gone, for the Age of Aggression is just about done. We'll drive out the Stormcloaks and restore what we own. With our blood and our steel we'll take back our home. Down with Ulfric, the killer of kings. On the day of your death we'll drink and we'll sing. We're the children of Skyrim and we fight all our lives. And when Sovngarde beckons, every one of us dies. But this land is ours and we'll see it wiped clean of the scourge that has sullied our hopes and our dreams. The following is an ancient song we've only recently been able to translate. Without a tune or a sure pronunciation, the song is lost to time. It's included here to show the deep history of song here in Skyrim. The original. Oh boy. Dovahking, nal oxinlos, farin wa dein vokul, malfrak ast val. Arkfin norak, pal gran fodnost hon, zindrozan, Dovahkin. Fahin kogan, muldral. Shazra nu koldo od, wa an bok. Lingravod. Arkfin te, bozigfion, dulfingain. Walost fron wal nedov, arkfin relik, du jul. Voth ansulik, waronir, falkrin. Arkfin zul, rokdrekod, natol, morakai frod, rullot tazokan, motad voth kain. Sarot thum, med antuz, vezaim, hokaran pa, olfin Dovahkin, komit, okay, rein. Arkfin rellost, proda, duvedving, kofin kra. Tolfod zima, winkain, mais fundain. Abduan fein dujun, kruzik vokun, stad now. Voth an balok, wodivon finlain. Nus an sul, fentalok, foldfin voldova nok. Van kosnalor, mafarak ark rus. Palzrai zal, fen kostin, nolbain. Alduin jot, dovkin kosfin savik, domos. And the translation? Dragonborn, by his honor is sworn. To keep evil I would love to break this down if I had the time or the inclination. To keep evil forever at bay. And the fiercest foes rout when they hear triumph's shout. Dragonborn, for your blessing we pray. Hearken now, sons of snow, to an age long ago, and the tale boldly told of the one who was kin to both worm and the races of man, with a power to rival the sun. And the voice he did wield on that glorious field, when great Tamriel shuddered with war. Mighty Thume like a blade cut through enemies all, as the Dragonborn issued his roar. And the scrolls have foretold of black wings in the cold, that when brothers wage war come unfurled. Alduin, bane of kings, ancient shadow unbound, with a hunger to swallow the world. But a day shall arise when the dark dragon's lies will be silenced forever, and then, for Skyrim will be free from foul Alduin's maw. Dragonborn be the savior of men. I don't want to read it out of order, but I have very little choice. Feyfolken Book 3 by Wohin Jarth. Let me just get a little closer here. Tharbad had at least seen the power of the quill, said the great sage, continuing his tale. Enchanted with the Daedra Feyfolken, servitor of Clavicus Vile, it had brought him great wealth and fame as the scribe of the weekly Bulletin of the Temple of Ariel. But he realized that it was the artist, and he merely the witness to its magic. He was furious and jealous. With the cry, he snapped the quill in half. He turned to finish his glass of mead. When he turned around, the quill was intact. He had no other quills but the one he had enchanted, so he dipped his finger in the inkwell and wrote a note to Gorgos in big sloppy letters. When Gorgos returned with the new batch of congratulatory messages from the temple praising his latest bulletin, he handed the note and the quill to the messenger boy. The note read, "Take the quill back to the Mages Guild and sell it. Buy me another quill with no enchantments." Gorgos didn't know what to make of the note, but he did as he was told. He returned a few hours later. "They wouldn't give us any gold back for it," said Gorgos. "They said it wasn't enchanted. I told them, I said, 'What are you talking about? You enchanted it right here with that Feyfolken soul gem.' And they said, 'Well, there ain't a soul in it now. Maybe you did something and it got loose.'" Gorgos paused to look at his master, Tharbad. Couldn't speak, of course, but he seemed even more than usually speechless. "Anyway, I threw the quill away, and I got you this new one like you said." Tharbad studied the new quill. It was white-feathered, while his old quill had been dove-gray. Felt good in his hand. He sighed with relief and waved his messenger lad away. He had a bulletin to write, and this time without any magic except for his own talent. Within 2 days' time, he was nearly back on schedule. It looked plain, but it was entirely his. Tharbald felt a strange reassurance when he ran his eyes over the page, and noticed some slight errors. It had been a long time since the bulletin contained any errors. In fact, Tharbald reflected happily there were probably other mistakes still in the document that he was not seeing. He was finishing a final whirl of plain calligraphy on the borders when Gorgos arrived with some messages from the temple. He looked through them all quickly until one caught his eye. The wax seal on the letter read Feyfolken. With complete bafflement, he broke it open. "I think you should kill yourself," it read in perfectly gorgeous script. Ow! He dropped the letter to the floor, seeing sudden movement on the bulletin. Feyfolken script leapt from the letter and coursed over the scroll in a flood, translating his shabby document into a work of sublime beauty. Tharbud no longer cared about the weird croaking quality of his voice. He screamed for a very long time, and then drank heavily. Gorgos brought Tharbud a message from Vanderthil, the secretary of the temple, early Friday morning. But it took the scribe until mid-morning to work up the courage to look at it. "Good morning. I am just checking in on the bulletin. You usually have it in on Turdos night. I'm curious. You planning something special? Vanderthil." Tharbad responded, "Vanderthil, I'm sorry. I've been sick. There won't be a bulletin this Sundas," and handed the note to Gorgos before retiring to his bath. When he came back an hour later, Gorgos was just returning from the temple smiling. "Vanderthil and the Archpriest went crazy," he said. "They said it was your best work ever." Tharbad looked at Gorgos, uncomprehending. Then he noticed that the bulletin was gone. Shaking, he dipped his finger in the inkwell and scrawled the words, What did the note I sent with you say? You don't remember? Asked Gorgos, holding back a smile. He knew the master had been drinking a lot lately. I don't remember the exact words, but it was something like, Vanderthil, here it is. Sorry it's late. I've been having severe mental problems lately. Tharbod. Since you said, here it is, I figured you wanted me to bring the bulletin along, so I did. And like I said, they loved it. I bet you get 3 times as much letters than this Sundas. Tharbod nodded his head, smiled, and waved the messenger lad away. Gorgos returned back to the temple, while his master turned to his writing plank and pulled out a fresh sheet of parchment. He wrote with the quill, What do you want, Fey Falcon? The words became, Goodbye, I hate my life, I have cut my wrists. Tharbod tried another tact, Have I gone insane? The words became, Goodbye, I have poison, I hate my life. Why are you doing this to me? I, Tharbod Hulzik, cannot live with myself and my ingratitude. That's why I put this noose around my neck. Oh boy. Tharbod picked up a fresh parchment, dipped his finger in the inkwell, and proceeded to rewrite the entire bulletin. While his original draft before Feyfolken had altered it, had been simple and flawed, the new copy was a scrawl. Lowercase i's were undotted, G's looked like y's, sentences ran into margins and curled up and all over like serpents. Ink from the first page linked onto the second page, and when he yanked the page from the notebook, a long tear nearly divided the third page in half. Something about the final result was evocative. Tharbod at least hoped so. He wrote another note, reading simply, Use this bulletin instead of the piece of trash I sent you. When Gorgos returned with new messages, Tharbod handed the envelope to him. The new letters were all the same, except for one from his healer, Telemichiel. Tharbod, we need you to come in as soon as possible. We've received the reports from Black Marsh about a strain of the Crimson Plague. That sounds very much like your disease, and we need to re-examine you. Nothing is definite yet, but we're going to want to see what our options are. It took Tharbod the rest of the day and 15 drams of the stoutest mead to recover. The larger part of the next morning was spent recovering from this means of recovery. He started to write a message to Vanderthil. What did you think of the new bulletin? With the quill, Feyfolken's improved version was, I'm going to ignite myself on fire because I'm a dying no-talent. Tharbod rewrote the note using his finger and ink message. When Gorgos appeared, he handed him the note. There was one message in Vanderthil's writing. It read, Tharbod, not only are you divinely inspired, but you have a great sense of humor. Imagine us using those scribbles you sent, instead of the real bulletin. You made the Archbishop laugh heartily. I cannot wait to see what you have next week. Yours fondly, Vanderthil. The funeral service a week later brought out far more friends and admirers than Tharbod Hulzik would have believed possible. The coffin, of course, had to be closed, but that didn't stop the mourners from filing into lines to touch its smooth oak surface, imagining it as the flesh of the artist himself. Poor guy. The Archbishop, at least someone remembers him. The Archbishop managed to rise to the occasion and deliver a better than usual eulogy. Tharbod's old nemesis, the secretary before Vanderthil, Alfiers, came in from Cloudrest, wailing and telling all who would listen that Tharbod's suggestions had changed the direction of her life. When she heard Tharbod had left her his quill and his final testament, she broke down in tears. Vanderthil was even more inconsolable until she found a handsome and delightfully single young man. I can hardly believe he's gone, and I never even saw him face to face or spoke to him, she said. I saw the body, but even if he hadn't been all burned up, I wouldn't have been able to tell if it was him or not. I wish I could tell you there'd been a mistake, but there was plenty of medical evidence, said Telemichel. I supplied some of it myself. He was a patient of mine, you see. Oh, said Vanderthil. Was he sick or something? He had the Crimson Plague years ago. That's what took away his voice box. His voice box, really? But it appeared to have gone into complete remission. Actually, I had just sent him a note, telling him words to that effect the day before he killed himself. You're the healer, exclaimed Vanderthil. Tharbod's messenger boy Gorgos told me that he had just picked up that message when I sent mine, complimenting him on the new, primitive design of the bulletin. It was amazing work. I never would have told him this, but I had begun to suspect he was stuck up in a outmoded style. It turned out he had one last work of genius before going out in a blaze of glory, figuratively and literally. Yeah. Vanderthil showed the healer Tharbod's last bulletin, until Michiel agreed that its frantic, nearly illegible style spoke volumes about the power and majesty of the god Oriel. Now I'm thoroughly confused, said Vungeldak. About which part? Asked the great sage. I think the tale is very straightforward. Fayfolken made all the bulletins beautiful, except for the last one, the one that Tharbod did for himself, said Taxum thoughtfully. But why did he misread the notes from Vanderthil, the healer? Did Fayfolken change those words? Perhaps, smiled the great sage. Or did Fayfolken changed Tharbod's perception of those words? Asked Vungeldak. Did Fayfolken make him mad after all? Very likely, said the great sage. But that would mean Fayfolken was a servitor of Sheogorath, said Vungeldak. And you said he was a servitor of Clavicus Vile. Which was he, an agent of mischief or an agent of insanity? The will was surely altered by Fayfolken, said Taxum, and that's the sort of thing a servitor of Clavicus Vile would do to perpetuate the curse. As an appropriate ending to the tale of the scribe and his cursed quill, smiled the great sage, I will let you read into it as you will. Sorry, I'm thinking of that quest line where Maven had you retrieve the Quill of Gemination. Wonder if there's any link between this quill and that quill. Makes you think. Oh. Yeah, no, I worship at Sheogorath. Sorry. 5 a.m. Getting closer. Collected Essays on Dwemer History and Culture, Chapter 1. Marabal Sul and the Trivialization of the Dwemer in Popular Culture, by Hasfat Antibolus. While Marabar Sul's ancient tales of the Dwemer was definitely debunked in scholarly circles as early as the reign of Kataraya I, remains one of the staples of the literature middle classes of the Empire. It remains one of the staples of the literature middle classes of the Empire. 1 second. Circles as early as the reign of Kataraya I, it remains one of the staples of the literature middle classes of the Empire, and has served to set the image of the Dwemer in the popular imagination for generations of school children. The flow, that just seemed a little off to me, sorry. What about this lengthy but curiously insubstantial tome has proved so captivating to the public that it has been able to see off both the scorn of the literati and the scathing critiques of the scholars? Woof. Before examining this question, a brief summary of the provenance and subsequent career of ancient tales would be appropriate. First published around the Second Era 670, in the interregnum between the fall of the First Cyrodiilic Empire and the rise of Tiber Septim, it was originally presented as a serious scholarly work based on research in the archives of the University of Gwilym, and in the chaos of that era was taken at face value, a sign of the sad state of Dwemer scholarship in those years. Little is known of the author, but Marabal Sul was most likely a pseudonym of Gorfilim, a prolific writer of penny dreadful romances of that era, who is known to have used many other pseudonyms. While most of Philim's other work has thankfully been lost to history, what little survived matches ancient tales in both language and tone. See Lomas, textual comparison of Gorfilim's A Hypothetical Treachery with Marabal Sul's Ancient Tales of the Dwemer. Philim lived in Cyrodiil his whole life, writing light entertainments for the elite of the old imperial capital. Why he decided to turn his hand to the Dwemer is unknown, but it is clear that his research consisted of nothing more than collecting the peasants' tales of the Nibene Valley and recasting them in Dwemer guise. The book proved popular in Cyrodiil, and Philim continued to churn out more volumes until the series numbered 7 in all. Ancient Tales of the Dwemer was thus firmly established as a local favorite in Cyrodiil, already in its 17th printing. When the historical forces that propelled Tiber Septim to prominence also began to spread the literature of the Heartland across the continent, Marabal Sul's version of the Dwemer was seized upon in a surge of human racial nationalism that has not yet subsided. The Dwemer appeal in these tales as creatures of fable and light fantasy, but in general they are just like us. They've come across as a bit eccentric, perhaps, but certainly there is nothing fearsome or dangerous about them. Compare these to the Dwemer of early Redguard legends, a mysterious, powerful race, capable of bending the very laws of nature to their will, vanished, but perhaps not gone. Or the Dwemer portrayed in the ancient Nord sagas, fearsome warriors. Very true. Tainted by blasphemous religious practices who used their profane mechanisms to drive the Nords from Morrowind. Yeah, like they had a chance there. Marabal Sul's Dwemer were much more amenable to the spirit of the time, which saw humans as the pinnacle of creation, and the other races as unenlightened barbarians or imperfect lesser versions of humans eager for tutelage. Ancient Tales falls firmly in the latter camp, which does much to explain its enduring hold on the popular imagination. Marabolsul's Dwemer are so much more comfortable, so much more friendly, so much more familiar than the real Dwemer, whose truly mysterious nature we are only beginning to understand. The public prefers the light, trivial version of this vanished race, and from what I have learned in my many years studying the Dwemer, I have some sympathy for that preference. As the following essays will show, the Dwemer were, to our modern eyes, a remarkably unlikely people in many ways. Mara's here. Oh, she put the temple. All this in preparation for when we get to that library they were talking about. You know, let's build a little collection. I don't want to overdo it, so we're just going to build a little collection right here. I think I must have already read this book. Or not. Anyway, we're going to build a little collection of books. I'm going to read those books, and then we're going to be done. I don't want to waste too much of, well, I'd say the time, but I doubt anyone's ever going to be watching these videos. Gosh darn it, Farkas, get out of my way. That'll be the last one.
Watch what you're doing.
Get out of the way. Dwarves, The Lost Race of Tamriel, Volume 2, Weapons, Armor, and Machines by Bkhalzarf, Scholar of Markarth. In our previous discussion on the Dwarves, or Dwemer in the more correct scholarly terminology, we looked into the properties of dwarven architecture and metallic crafts. In this continuing discussion of Tamriel's lost race, we shall examine the ways in which dwarves waged war and kept out trespassers. Unlike many other cultures still existing today, the dwarves built and relied on increasingly complicated machines for a wide variety of martial tasks, and weapons and armor created solely for the purpose of being wielded by dwarven warriors show remarkably fewer points of progress beyond the basic designs. Let us begin by analyzing these basic weapons and armors. Anyone who has held a dwarven axe or worn a dwarven helmet can testify as to the ancient everlasting quality of dwarven craftsmanship. Weapons do not deviate too greatly from their base function. Dwarven swords pierce through light armors with incredible effectiveness, owing primarily to the remarkable sharpness of tempered dwarven metal, and owing to a far lesser extent to its simple, double-edged design. Compare and contrast a sharp, angular dwarven dagger to a curved elven blade, and it becomes a small logical leap to say that dwarven weaponsmiths relied almost exclusively on creating quality materials first, and merely allowed the form of those materials to flow from the method that weapon was intended to kill people. As a culture that built almost exclusively underground, it's no surprise that dwarven armors are built to withstand incredibly heavy blows. Again, the fact that they're also resistant to being pierced by arrows or small blades is more of a testament to the superior dwarven metallurgy over superior dwarven armorsmithing, but it would be erroneous to thus conclude that dwarven smiths did not take the manufacture of their weapons and armor very seriously. Every piece of war crafts I have examined shows a remarkable amount of unnecessary detailing and personalization that is just as evident today among the most ardent blacksmiths. A dwarven smith probably came from a long tradition that distinguished itself in the way that, say, the grip of a mace would feel, or the design of the head of an individual arrow. Although due to the paltry lack of any cultural artifacts outside the weapons and armors themselves, this is only mere speculation. The last but probably most important discussion in this volume pertains to the existence of dwarven machinery. Dwarves created and manufactured on a very broad scale thousands of mechanical apparati of varying complexity, the most simple of which is the standard arachnid design used to ward off trespassers. We are so far uncertain as to how the dwarves were able to bring to life these remarkably intelligent machines, but I have witnessed one stalk a highly trained thief for several hours, only to ambush him as he was dealing with a lock to some room or treasure trove. I admit to have forgotten the details past the point at which it began spouting lightning at him. Dwarven military machines also range from the human-sized sphere warriors, which patrol the interiors of the ruins as a harmless ball, only to emerge from it as fully armed and armored automaton fighter, to the justly feared centurion, whose height ranges from twice to several hundred times human size, depending on which reports you believe and depending on the manufacturer as well. I believe this is the next one, yeah. Then we're going to be cutting back for a minute. Let's check the time first. Getting there. Dwarves, the Lost Races of Tamriel, Volume 2, Weapons, Armor, and Machines. Wait a minute. Oh, I think we just read this one. Yeah, we did. Sorry, give me a second. Dwarves, The Lost Race of Tamriel, Volume 3, Culture and History by Bkhalzarf, Scholar of Markarth. In this final volume, on our discussion on the dwarves, again see the term Dwemer for references using the more scholastic name, we will attempt on examination into the distinct culture and history of Tamriel's lost race. You must, however, begin such a discussion with a warning. Despite what certain academic circles would like the people to believe, there is so far no evidence that verifies any claim as to the dwarves' particular customs, morals, myths, legends, laws of system of government, or involvement in major historical events outside of those few examples that remain indisputable. For instance, while we can say with absolute certainty that the disappearance of the entire dwarven race happened very suddenly, only the laziest of junior scholars would say that the event happened in the same day, or even the same hour. There is simply no proof to dispute the theory that perhaps the dwarves disappeared from Tamriel gradually, over the course of several years or indeed several decades. I question Bkhalzarf on this, but okay. There is also nothing that disproves the source of this disappearance as being attributed to mass deaths, plagues, magical contamination. Again, I guess that's interesting. Perhaps this is true. Experiment in the sense that there's no academic proof per se in the world. Experiments with the nature of a theory has gone wrong, or even race-wide teleportation into one of the planes of oblivion. There is simply too little that the dwarves left behind that points to the nature of their great vanishing act, and this same frustration applies to all aspects of their social structure and history. What we know, then, can only be inferred by the writings of the other races, which made contact with the dwarves before they left Tamriel. The Dark Elves, Dwemer, for example, teach that their great prophet Nerevar helped unite the dwarves and the elves in Morrowind against occupying Nord armies from Skyrim in the First Era. But Nord and Orc writings also indicate that the dwarves were also allied with them at various points and in various legendary battles of theirs. Unfortunately, none of these legends and folklore make an effort to describe the dwarves in great detail, only that they were a secretive people, and that alliance with them was usually enough to warrant crafting a story around, and past the First Era, no race makes note of encountering any living dwarves at all. This is further confounded by the fact that so many of the Dark Elven writings on their relationship with the dwarves were lost during the tragic eruption of Vvardenfell during the Oblivion Crisis nearly 200 years ago. What secrets they could have revealed about the Lost Race are now buried behind layers of molten earth, along with so many unfortunate Dark Elven people. Thus we conclude our discussion on the dwarves on the somber note. As with all scholarly endeavors, we are left with more questions than we have answers, and the proof we so desperately search for is so often out of reach, denied even to the most fervent effort. The mysteries that dwarves have left us, which could easily warrant another century or so worth of personal examination from me, and quite possibly even several millennia of excavation of even one dwarven ruin, would be insufficient to paint a complete picture of them. But what we can see from our threadbare tapestry of dwarven artifacts is a careful, intelligent, industrious, and highly advanced culture, whose secrets we as students and teachers of their works can only hope to uncover someday. Alright, here we are on the last one. The Falmer, a Study by Ursa Earthrax. I have studied and traveled and explored and observed, and my someone who wrote these books really had a predilection for that. And my hypothesis has finally been confirmed, that the twisted Falmer that inhabit the darkest depths of Skyrim are indeed the snow elves of legend. No one really knows when the story of the Snow Elves began, but the ancient work Fall of the Snow Prince, which is an account of the battle at Mostring, is transcribed by Lokheim, chronicler to the chieftain Ingjaldar, White Eye, gives a rather vivid account of its ending. According to this eyewitness account, the great Falmer leader known only as the Snow Prince... Sorry, I forget Falmer and Falmer are the same thing. Died in glorious battle and was buried with honor by his Nord slayers. The remaining Snow Elves were scattered or slain and were never heard from again, or so many thought. But where the story of the ancient Snow Elves ends, that of the current-day Falmer begin. For when the Snow Elf host was shattered on that fateful day, it did not simply disperse, it descended into the earth deep underground. For the Falmer sought sanctuary in the most unlikely of places, Blackreach, far beneath the surface of Skyrim, in the legendary realm of the Dwemer themselves. Yes, Blackreach exists, I have been there. And unlike most of those who have witnessed its terrible glories, I have returned. And now I know the truth about the Falmer. After their defeat by the Nords, the dwarves of old agreed to protect the Falmer, but at a terrible price. For these Dwemer did not trust their Snow Elf guests and forced them to consume the toxic fungi that once grew deep underground. As a result, the Snow Elves were rendered blind. Soon the majestic Snow Elves were rendered powerless. They became the dwarves' servants, and then their slaves. But the Dwemer's treachery was so deep, so complete, that they made the fungi an essential part of the Falmer's diet. This guaranteed the weakness of not only their current Falmer thralls, but their offspring as well. The Snow Elves, for time eternal, would be blind. But as is always the story with slaves and their masters, the Falmer eventually rebelled. Generations after they first sought solace among the dwarves and experienced bitter betrayal, the Falmer rose up against their oppressors. They overthrew the dwarves, no they didn't, and fled even further down into Blackreach's deepest, most hidden reaches. For decade upon decade, the two sides waged a bitter conflict, a full-fledged and bloody War of the Crag that raged deep below Skyrim's surface, completely unbeknownst to the Nords above. A war whose battles and heroes must forever remain lost to our knowledge, until one day the war ended. For on that day, the Falmer went to meet their Dwemer foes in battle, only to find that the entire race had vanished. Finally free from the threat of their Dwemer overlords, the Falmer were able to spread freely throughout Blackreach. But years of fighting the dwarves had left them bloodthirsty and brutal. Feeling the need to conquer and kill, they began mounting raids to the surface world. And so the legends began. Of small, blind, goblin-like creatures. Again, I wonder if there's something there. Who would rise from the cracks of the earth in the dead of night to slaughter cattle, attack lonely travelers, and steal sleeping babes from their cribs. In recent years, however, the sightings of these creatures have become more and more frequent, their raids more organized, their attacks more brutal. In fact, one might even come to the conclusion that the Falmer are ready to change once again. Could it be true? Are the Snow Elves of ages past ready to reclaim their long-forgotten glory? Are they ready to surge to the surface and make war upon the Light Dwellers? If that happens, if the Falmer indeed are planning on reconquering Skyrim, I fear a horror neither man nor gods, a horror neither man nor gods could possibly stand against. And with that, I'm gonna go to sleep and wake up in a few hours. Thanks for joining me on the readings. I'm gonna have a bite to eat real quick. Oh, that's better. Nice. Better. Alright, she should be out and about now. She's still inside? Well, that's not good. Or maybe her shop's open? One can hope. Okay, let's give it a few more hours. You know, let me stop by the blacksmith, Because if he has lockpicks for sale, I have enough gold to buy enough lockpicks so I can just break in there. There he is.
This better be good.
I am just looking for the blacksmith.
Business to tend to.
There he is.
Speak, I haven't got all day. Mercenaries, Morrowind Redoran, Soulstorm Redoran. I guess your brain already has enough information to wrap around. Outlanders.
How am I supposed to...
Open your eyes.
Oh, shit.
Or to keep to the point, or just scram.
I'd like to buy from you. I have to adjust my run speed. I don't have time for this. Well, I'm made of time, but... Anyway. Give it an hour or two. Okay. Hopefully she's out and about now. Yeah, I think that's right. No, she's still inside. What am I supposed to do? I can't get in.
What do you want?
I'm not sure what I'm supposed to do. I can't get in. The door's remaining locked. Yeah, we might have to pick this up later. Just gotta look time. Yeah, we're about an hour. I'm going to rest on the hour every hour for about 12 hours and then rest for 12 hours. And if that remains her location, I don't know what to do. Which is mildly frustrating. Mildly. Maybe she'll come out for evening. Yes! Success! Gotta catch her before she... Okay.
You again?
You know, I've got a strong feeling you're not the only one serving this elf. First tea, then acid. And now he wants me to hand in valuable goods. Just like that. I should say that. I don't care about his reasons. Either he comes here himself and pays for the goods, or he goes without.
Okay.
Be careful!
Alright, ladies and gentlemen. We've been here for about another hour. I'm not gonna lie, reading those books took a little bit out of me, more than I was expecting. So... Alright, just a rare vantage point being up here. You can almost see it for a village. Alright. Can I? That's disappointing. So we're gonna follow him down there, and we'll come back to it.
You don't seem to be in a hurry. Do you have the potions? Stupid Enwa! I can't rely on you to do anything!
I really don't like being called an Anwa.
We are not fatal. Now, let's get down to business. We are headed for Bkhalzarf, once a city of talented scholars and skilled artisans. Dwemer vaults were only safe for the Dwemer themselves. Your top priority will be to protect me and provide me with assistance in case of unforeseen circumstances. But first I need to know your combat preferences. Sword or spear? Sir, you like swinging canes and what? What kind of weapon do you prefer? Take your armor and put it on. Let me know when you're done.
Mutsera, Rajira wishes to speak with you. It is true, but Rajira is an unusual case. Unusual and rare. Rajira was lucky enough to keep his dog intact. No one would trust you anyway. Rajira lives
Maybe not
for
doing that in
15
front of him.
years. Rajira is a trader. He sells information. Rajira would like to offer you his service. Rajira sees many things. Things no one talks about. About the local citizens. About Sadrit Kegran. For pity 20 coins, Rajira will tell you something of interest. Thank you, Mutsera. You won't regret. Now, listen carefully. Rajira uses to feed stray mud crabs on the streets. You may help Rajira with that. When you would talk to Rajira again, make sure no one would overhear you.
Okay. The only thing I'm worried about is I want to make sure 31 versus 35. I like the vibe better. Ooh, I do need those. What about boots? Yeah? No, I got those. 19 versus 17. Let's swap that out. Steel armor. Oh, because it's a light armor, I see. It's like I'm going to recreate,
Eat something?
As I said, the picture for my profile on YouTube was actually taken in one of the places we're heading to right now. So let's get to it. I'm gonna go down there. Wow. For the sake of anyone, hypothetically anyone who's watching.
For more than one reason. High humidity and the influence of therein. Emitting spores, penetrating its roots, deeper and deeper into the earth. A scene of almost all Bkhalzarf in current day. You'll get used to it. That! The giant mushroom right at the center of the city! You idiot! It's connected to the Dwemer ship. None of your concern. Move along. Beyond doubt, this cave in which we stand has experienced several collapses and floods. Not much remains of the Dwemer architecture here. But this used to be the upper district of a grand city. Answers to some long-standing questions. I'll show you on the way. Stay close by and don't lag behind.
Alright. So...
Well, haste, Enwa!
Stop calling me an Enwa!
To go through the ancillary tunnels. After we descend, turn right. You have no business in the left wing. I do my best to avoid it.
Alright. Alright guys, this is good enough. Let me just test it out real quick.
Our ultimate goal is the Dwemer Library. This engineering wonder is completely autonomous. Can you imagine? The library updates, sorts, and restores itself. All thanks to animalculae. Hundreds of little mechanical spikes collect books, scrolls, and any knowledge that can be found on the surface. Bring them here, to Bkhalzarf. Interestingly, the spiders are unable to defend themselves. They do not even display aggression to strangers like us. These canals most likely survive.
Alright guys, thanks for joining me. Catch you on the next one.